Hello again, Keith Bond here from Bond Christian Counseling. Today I'd like to talk about the need of sexuality, especially as it pertains to your marriage and your belonging and mattering with others living in their greatness of your own kind. So this first illustration that I want to show you is it's taken from author Chip Dodd. He, as the voice of the heart is our primary source, but then this is an extra book called Needs of the Heart. So according to Chip, there's a certain number of feelings, 8 feelings. Just like there's 3 primary colors, there's 8 primary emotions. And those primary emotions point us to our primary attachment needs. And one of those needs is sexuality, which is what we'll be talking about today. And this is a side note, but the other deeper roots of the heart are desires and longings and hopes. And as a side note, the desires, there is a split. There is a legitimate desire of the flesh, which is to survive. That's what the Bible calls the old man. And there's a desire of the spirit, which is called the new man. And that desire of the spirit is to live fully, love deeply, and lead well. And then the longings and hopes are the deeper roots of the heart. So for now, I'm just going to read to you from this book called Needs of the Heart by Chip Dodd. And then you can follow along, and then we'll give another illustration at the end. So sexuality. The need for sexuality has nothing to do with the action of sex. The need of sexuality is our own need to feel and experience comfort and confidence in our own skin. Sexuality fulfillment is the feeling of being glad to be in our skin. Sexuality is the experience of gladness, confidence, and comfort in our male skin or female skin. When the need for sexuality is met, it travels from our hearts all the way out to our faces. We can be ourselves. We are not hiding our hearts out of the fear of rejection by our own kind. Being comfortable and confident in our own skin allows us to continue to be good at asking for what we need from others like us. If you are a man, you know that you need encouragement and care and tenderness and teaching from other men because men know what it's like to be one. If you are a woman, you know that you need encouragement and care and tenderness and teaching from other women because women know what it's like to be one. Basically, you and I have permission, without regard for graded performance, to be fully present with our own kind, who can influence our hearts and continue growing into who we are made to be. If we are not comfortable being in need and having the confidence of being ourselves, then we have to hide our hearts, hide who we are. In my 30 years of working predominantly with men and married couples, I have seen over and over again how we men and women tend to hide our vulnerabilities behind some form of performance power. When men are with men and women with women, which blocks the fulfillment of sexuality need. Performance power sends a double message. One, it communicates denial of your neediness through a self-sufficiency cure that is marked by invulnerability, i.e., you are superior. Or two, while also stating that you are on equal footing with all others, i.e., you are humble. This control slash false humility dynamic of distrust within a woman's or man's interactions causes relational difficulty and confusion. It presents a mask of superiority to others by being the one who does not need and usually communicates an unspoken recognition that vulnerability is not tolerated unless the one in need is accepting the usually unspoken rules or fixes of the superior person. This same man, who cannot allow other men to meet him in his neediness, will often attempt to get a woman, especially spouse, to meet their masculine needs. And a woman cannot do it. The same woman who cannot allow other women to meet her in her neediness, will do the same. Tragedy lies within this dynamic. Men will demand that their wives become praising, pampering, pitying mothers and or nameless mistresses instead of women in their own greatness. Women will demand that their husbands become adoring, permissive, fixing daddies and or unattached, philandering, irresponsible boys instead of men in their own greatness. The greatness is the capacity for passion, the ability for intimacy, and the dependability of integrity. Without this greatness, men and women who will not admit their neediness raise children to be unaccepting of their own neediness. So they end up covering up their needs too. If we are comfortable and confident being male or female, then we will be able to extend and stretch ourselves into other territories because we are not afraid of losing ourselves. In other words, men can bring out what is traditionally thought of as femininity without fear because of their confidence. Obviously, the opposite can be said of women. For example, what is traditionally thought of as feminine is a man's tenderness, touch, nurture, care, thoughtfulness, and kindness to others. What is traditionally thought of as masculine is a woman's toughness, her reserve, a willingness to risk, sacrifice of life, and ability to separate. If men are unable to display both feminine and masculine traits with each other, true friendship and love will never be able to flourish. Performance power will fester and destroy the possibility for relationships. Power, not only with each other, but also between men and women. Sexuality need is grown through the affirmation and confirmation of important caregivers who say that we belong and matter as we bring our feelings, needs, desires, longings, and hopes to our hearts with our of our lived experience. For those of us whose sexuality has needed need was harmed, it can be rebuilt by today's caregivers who are in healing and now walk in their greatness. Of course, each need discussed in these descriptions leaves much unstated. In spite of this reality, let me end this sexuality needs section with a large hope for each of us. Every person needs six pallbearers. That is, every person needs friends to walk through the journey of the heart with them. These people will miss us terribly when we depart because they knew us and they carry our story with them from the inside out. Anybody can carry a casket, but it takes a friend to honor the life that we had. One of the ways we meet our pallbearers is to have our need for sexuality met, which leads us to be all who we are and to walk confidently in being fully known. So this next illustration is the lie that the world sells us. We live in a world where they promote this 5% outlier. And the blue, this is for male, and the pink or red there is for female. It says that you need, if you're going to be one of us, if you're going to be with the men, then that means you have to reject all things feminine. You have to be hyper masculine, like you have to be Dwayne the Rock Johnson, and reject everything feminine. And on the flip side, um, you women are compared to whatever model of Angelina Jolie or whoever else. I'm too old. I always think of Pamela Anderson, but most people don't remember her. But hyper femininity, that's the point. And then you have to reject all things masculine. But the truth is, we are 90% the same, men and women. We have 5% outliers, yes, but it doesn't define who we are. We are way more alike than we are different. And that's really what I'm hoping you see in regards to this teaching of the legitimate need for sexuality. So I pray that you were blessed and that the Lord's will be done regarding the meeting of your need for sexuality with other men and women of your kind living in their greatness. Blessings. Bye-bye.